Hi, this is Sarah from sarayip.com, Facebook The Numbers Queen, and Instagram sarayip1111. And I'm talking about a slightly belated March numerology forecast. It's been a pretty big couple of months, so thanks for your patience with this, and I hope it still helps you. So I have actually created this as a blog on my website, sarayip.com, and I will be partly reading it out and also elaborating. So firstly, I do hope that you're safe and well. There is so much energy going on right now. It's okay to drop everything and just do the most basic things. Sometimes we overcomplicate simply by buying into all the shoulds, which of course sits in our shoulders. And a good motto at times like this is, I won't shoot on you if you don't shoot on me. So it seems to be a bit of a theme right now. When we shackle ourselves, we shackle others and vice versa. So let's open our wings instead. All right, so we know that 2022 is a 6th universal year, which comes from adding 2 plus 2 plus 2. This is all about healing the third eye, and it's a really strong focus on mental health and using basically this capacity for the highest good. So that includes recovering our ability to see the future, to know the future, to access spiritual information and helpers. So in this 6th universal year, we expect there's going to be a lot of opportunities to think for ourselves and to clear anything that has hypnotized us or frightened us away from our problem-solving powers. So what you do in numerology is you add the numbers together. So we add 6 to March's number, which is a 3, making it a 9 universal month. Now numbers go from 1 to 9. So 9 is the big brother, big sister number, and I mean that in the usually more positive sense. And this is usually someone who is an old soul. They've been on Earth a long time, and in fact, they're beyond psychic. They're the type of person you throw a ball at and they've already gone like this, just as you've had the thought. So very perceptive energy, the 9s. And at the same time, they can be a bit prone to drama, would be an understatement. 9 is related to Mars, the god of war. And, you know, the opposite of war is raw. And a lot of people start conflict because they're not able to process something that has left them feeling very vulnerable. And I'm not sure who said it, but there's this quote I love, which is that, you know, all wars started by someone who couldn't sit quietly in a room. That's in fact why I'm teaching my next class on intro meditation, because that's the best way I know how to contribute to this really difficult situations we're all facing. And that class is a low-cost community class and also free to people who have been affected by the New South Wales or Queensland floods. Just contact me privately. Anyway, so here we are, 6th universal year, 9 universal month. So what's it all about? So it's a time for things to come to a head, to come to consciousness. It's basically a pinnacle. And you'll see that the picture I've used for the blog is actually someone summiting a mountain. It's a place where we can truly witness how far we've come and how far we have to go. I specialize in life paths, which is your life purpose and the ages at which really big things will happen and how you can best deal with them. It has to be said, a lot of people, including myself, we spend many lifetimes trying to sort out particular relationships or attachments or addictions or obsessions. And that's okay, and that's how it's meant to be. And it's all about growth within a lifetime, not getting to a certain goalpost that we set ourselves, often as a result of feeling insecure or inferior. So here we are, pinnacle in human consciousness. It's a time to rewrite history. In tarot, the number 6 is the Lover's card. It's a lovely card. It's got that really strong Venus energy, and it is all about embracing each other and really trying to find the beauty and celebrating it. Whereas the 9 is the Hermit, and it's where someone has had a lot of realizations and needs to now go on their own journey, and that person normally carries a bit of a light, and they're just often having a bit of that dark night of the soul. So this is a month where we can reflect on how far we've come as a result of the loving actions we've taken and maybe the not so loving ones we've taken. Where we can clear our prejudice to those we see as different to us. I believe that when we come to Earth, we do make a pledge to clean it up, make it a healthier, happier place for those coming after us. And sometimes we forget that, and that's often when we get very harsh feedback and people are really reflecting our shadow side. This is a time to bring your opposites together, to bring external forces together. It's very much that yin-yang thing. And what I think you'll find is there's a lot of progress actually this month, both internally and externally for all of us, and especially if you're watching this forecast, because you don't know what it is till it's out in the open. And as they say, an accurate diagnosis is a great part of the cure. And as much as we can be frightened by seeing what's been hiding in our closet, now we can declutter with the help of others. Now we can be honest and no longer afraid that the size is too much to handle. So in terms of the chakras activated right now, we've talked about this one buzzing. So, lots of vivid dreams, really good time to tune in and do creative pursuits or therapies. The number 9 is actually one of the highest chakras. For me, it's the soul blueprint, and it really is where we connect to the universe and the cosmos. It's where, as I mentioned, we remember that we have a commitment when we come here, not only to look after our bodies, but to look after those around us. You can see a diagram of the chakras on my website, sariyep.com. Just go to Find Your Life Path. So who's in the spotlight this month? Who's going to really be feeling it? So it's the people who have strong 9 energy. There's the 6 energy people. 6 and 33s are feeling it all year, to be totally honest, with a huge peak in September. But right now there's that spotlight on the 9s. Now 9s rarely ask for help. I know this because I've worked with thousands of people, and they really just come in when it's a serious crossroads. Most of the time they're incredibly capable of dealing with things themselves, and they're also often very busy holding space for others or helping others to get certain lessons as those experienced souls. However, this month I think you might find even they will be reaching out. And I've always said if a 9 asks you for help them, because it could be some years before they ask again. With that 9, it's also sometimes a bit of a big head, big ego, shall we say, and they're proud people, so you can't force things upon them. Okay, so also people who see 999 or any combinations of the 9s in terms of repeating numbers, for example 911. I really only started seeing that more and more when my son was born. I've got 2 sons actually who are 9s, and I'm an 11. So it's partly a mother-child code for me, which is that remembrance that we're here to help each other. And it also has a greater manifestation as a global healer number, which you can Google if you like, Sariyep 911. And I have correlated this, to people's occupations and interests. And very often those who see 911, they can relate to being those past life witches or healers. Remember, witch, woman in total connection with herself, or wizard in total connection with himself. Doesn't have to be a negative. A lot of them work in healthcare, medical particularly, hospitals, nursing, counselling, anything where we're sort of saving lives, and also some then have an interest in alternative therapies, which, as I mentioned, can be past life. So that 911 is that calling. There is something bigger than you that you need to connect with, and it's often a group of people, a movement, or an organization. As you can see from the 9 energy, and if you know a little bit of maths, 9 plus any number actually becomes the other number in compatibility. So, 9 plus 1 becomes 10, which reduces to 1. So 9s can donate a lot of energy without realizing it. And they sometimes need a quite strong pressure to get out of their comfort zone. And I've said in my blog about Life Path 9s, the worst thing for them is to be the biggest fish in a small pond. They become very angry, very frustrated. Anger even has a 9 energy. So expect a lot of nines, as I said, to be breaking down, breaking through right now. Some of the words with the 9 energy which you might find relevant for this month, one is divine, failure and fortune. They have the same vibration in numerology, which makes sense because both of them, it's all about how you see it. And the 9 is that thinker, and they're quite philosophical, and it's that idea nothing is good or bad, but thinking makes it so. Mountain and waterfalls. So this 9 energy is that force of nature. We're really seeing that right now where I am, which is in Queensland, huge amounts of floods. Now, if you saw my 22 to 2022 interview, which was quite recent, that was all about the stream of consciousness. Water has a 22 vibration. So that date actually breaks down into water, 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 as well as having this water tiger year. Now, at the time, I guess I didn't totally pick up on that nuance. However, it's interesting that the storms and rains started just after that date. And I really do send my condolences if you've been affected. And as I mentioned, you can come to my meditation class for free, and I will see what else I can do. And I really wish you well. So this idea of 9 being the force of nature, and even the force of love, because love has a 9 energy. Doesn't that make sense? There's that song, Love Potion, number 9, famous 9s like Elvis, the love song king, really. Words like leader and empath have a 9. I've talked a lot in my 2022 forecast class about how this is the rise of the sensitive leader this year. A lot of people have gotten to the top until now by basically brutalizing their insides and those around them. And there's that saying, be careful who you step on climbing the ladder of success, because that's who will meet you on the way down. And I think we're starting to see a lot of karmic repercussions this year. And more and more we're... Well, that was random, wasn't it? So we are seeing younger and younger people going into politics and activism, which I find very exciting and makes sense. There's a lot of the new children, they do reach their life path maturity by primary or high school, as opposed to us, where it was really into our 20s and 30s. Okay, so last few things for this March energy and numerology forecast. Child, money, and school have the same vibration. That's some topics I'm really having to think about here, because we have children, now of school age, and there is a lot of juggling to do. In my experience, people parent their money and their ideas very similarly, as well as their children if they have them. A lot of people go it alone because that's what they've seen done. That's what they equate with a certain level of victory kind of over the human self. And all I can suggest is there's a huge opportunity cost when we use only one aspect of ourselves to deal with a multidimensional area. So, children come here knowing who we are. They've looked right through our soul contracts. They've been often watching us for a whole lifetime before they come in. And they are incredibly wise and resilient. They have their own team of spirit guides. So I guess what I'm saying is a lot of them are okay with having other people come in to be their role models. In fact, that can be a great healing for us to know that we don't have to be good at everything. In fact, we can't be. And actually, on that note, I got my formal diagnosis of autism this month, which was a huge relief, because I really do find I spend a lot of my energy questioning why things don't come naturally to me, whereas other things are very easy. And now I have a good understanding of why. And I don't feel so much that need to cure myself. It's kind of like spending your whole life coming last in a running race, and then somebody points out that you're missing a leg and you hadn't ever realized. So for me, it's actually a really positive thing. Okay, last few things. So the calmest person in the room is energetically in charge. It's something I've really learned over the course of doing my fundraising, my environmental activism, science, and even this psychic work, is there's not much point blowing your top. People have very long memories. And I've talked about this before with the word magic. You can be a creator or a reactor. It's all about where you see yourself, stuck in the middle or leading out the front. So this is one of the reasons that I am focusing more and more on meditation going forwards. And it's not just normal meditation. Of course, there's that element of relaxation, but I'm Chinese and I like bang for buck, shall we say. So I'm talking about meditation where you tune into body parts, you tune into relationships, you get that guidance on what comes next. You really use it in all the areas where you have lots of questions and you don't hold back and you lose that fear of being really open with your spiritual self. So I do encourage you to up the practices, meditation, yoga, self-healing, martial arts, all those things. You will find this works really well in March. We really need more people right now who are nourishing themselves because it's going to be a long recovery effort from a lot of these things that are going on in the world, the wars and the climate changes and all those things. There is a lot of pull from the doom and gloom prophets. You can spell that prophets with a PH or a FITS, and there's a relationship there. And it's very seductive. In fact, it's something I want to talk more about. Is the idea of being the sucker, the energy vampire. But we'll leave that for now. All I'm saying is if you want to have that better spiritual immunity, we need to be cultivating that sense of self through these activities, which are often free. And really what they cost is they cost your fear of missing out. So meditation is something you can learn. I learned it as a teenager. It's definitely saved my life. It can be taught. It's very much like cooking or driving. It's a life skill. It's much easier to learn in a group and with a mentor who can help you to correct things that you're doing in a really non-confronting, non-judgmental way. So do have a look at my intro meditation webinar. It's on sale now and it's on the 2nd of April. In terms of dates to know for March, the new moon is around the 2nd, 3rd of April, which is one of the reasons I'm teaching then. It's that time to plant seeds. It's good to rest around that time and take it easy. Your body is often recovering from a big few weeks. We'll then have the full moon on the 18th of March, often a time that things come to light. We can have very strong feelings and emotions and realizations. This is a time when often we would have events where we want to have a lot of people or a lot of shifts. And my kids don't sleep much under those full moons, so I always put that in my diary. Then, of course, we've got the equinox, which is a lot about balance. And that's the 20th, 21st of March. So look, I really hope you've enjoyed my return to today's forecast. It is a gift to you. I'm so delighted to be able to share this. This is something I live by. Actually, some funny things happened when I was preparing this forecast. So our 4-year-old Charlie, who's very psychic, he came in with the calculator and just started typing 6s and then 9s. Which is funny because I hadn't actually verbalized any of this. I was just typing, but he's that kind of kid. Don't get much past them. So I just wanted to finish up with a few cards. These are some cards from the Modern Oracle by Katie Kay, a local author and psychic. So there's a lot here with all that 2 energy this year of what is it to be in the feminine, in the yin, in the receptive. It's not always what we think. You don't have to look like this to be a female, clearly. But there's something to be said for that ability to pick and choose your times carefully and pick and choose your fights, to reserve your energy for what's truly important. That is the key to longevity, I think. There's this card here. Be careful what's being offered to you. Now, it has to be said, Adam and Eve is a little bit of a rewrite. If you've seen some of my other classes, it's pretty clear that that was copied from another story where, in fact, man was brought to life by the lady of the rib. Nevertheless, in this context, it is be careful what is presented as the easy out or the obvious solution. We know, as I mentioned before, there's often an opportunity cost. It reduces your choices later on. So it's about being mindful of that fast food fix, essentially, and that's about it for that card. Last one, and we'll wind up. I feel so excited seeing this card. 6 looks like a pregnancy. 9 is, that fully formed fetus or person, the one who wants to grow up, who's got those big ambitions. And I feel that the children are going to be running the planet in not too long. The children coming through, I believe, have survived a lot of the wars in the past century, and they've come back with an enormous knowing that this is not the way forwards. So thank you for staying with me. The best ways to connect with me are on social media, so Facebook, The Numbers Queen, Instagram, Sarah1111, and also on this YouTube channel if you're watching in that regard. I do readings, I do classes, and I also have a Patreon study group. So this is a place where if you see repeating numbers, we are part of your tribe, but especially if you also want to learn the deeper meanings in terms of numerology, meditation, palmistry. So being able to apply the understanding of those numbers, it's so much more than just a hello from your angels. Almost always, it's actually a portion of your soul contract that is calling to you, asking you to change certain areas of your life or even perform chakra healings. All right, well, I'll be back again with some more videos. Thank you so much for all your support. And this winds up my March 2022 numerology forecast. See you next time. Bye.